Jesus Christ, thank you for bringing us here today, Lord. May you bless us with the best decisions for our community, bless our families at home, and bless all those people in need of your services, Lord. We ask Jesus Christ, amen. And face the flag for Pledge Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May be seated.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, staff. This is this meeting. We're here so that we can go over the first of the 3 series of the budget workshop. This one here that we currently have is to discuss and go over the departmental goals, capital outlay, and the personnel request. In the past, previously, what we used to do was coming to you all. It was meeting with the departmental directors, and then at that point, doing some cuts. But before this year, we decided to do it differently so that you guys could see exactly what is it that the requests are before us going back and doing any cuts. So it may be that there's a lot of stuff in there, but a lot of the stuff that is here, it's a lot of items, capital outlay requests that the department really needs. Unfortunately, not everything can be approved because of our budget. However, what I wanted to do was present it to you all as what the needs are really are. So with that have in mind, said that. Is there any particular order you would like for me to follow, or do we just go down the list as far as the booklet?
Yeah, I guess we can just go down the list on the book. I know you're first, right, City Manager?
Yes. Well, actually, it's legislative. There's nothing there really.
Okay.
One question.
Yes.
Are we taking action?
No, this is just a workshop. We don't take any
workshop.
action.
Okay. With that being said, it's just a workshop. I would recommend, my recommendation only, that once they present, if we can release them so they can go to their families, because I mean, if we're not going to take action today, they're just going to present. Once they're done individually, they can. Nah, except you, but everybody else. If we're not going to vote on anything.
Yes.
¿Le van a traerles comida? Eso?
Oh, ¿le van a traer comida?
Sí.
Ah, bueno, pues entonces si se
My
quieren quedar.
recommendation after they eat.
Si quieren, yeah,
We can do that.
We can, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we can definitely do that. So the first item is like we talked about my department. If you see on the booklet, there's 3 positions that we currently have. As a matter of fact, there's 2. The other one that I'm asking is consideration in transferring the administrative clerk over to my department instead of being under city secretary. This is a position that is greatly needed. There's not going to be any additional staff. There's not going to be additional funding or anything like that. We're just going to transfer the responsibility over to city managers versus the city secretary staff. And the other position that we currently have is the grants and contracts coordinator. In the past, what we had was, ¿Ya llegó la comida?
No. Go ahead.
What we had was the grants and contracts coordinator that we had here. She resigned about a month and a half ago, 2 months, something like that. One of the things that I've been looking at as far as making some improvements or making some space on the budget is to maybe, if you allow us, is look into the possibility of contracting it out, outsourcing it, versus having somebody in staff.
¿Cuál es esa?
Monday?
The grants.
Grants and contracts.
When that position was, when did she first leave? When did she leave?
Ms.
You know.
When did she?
Before those directors, no? Porque de repente there was.
I'm sorry.
That happened before the directors, the finance.
It happened afterwards.
Right after?
Yes.
It was after?
So, the grants and contracts coordinator, when did she resign?
Well,
So-
you know what? My recommendation on that item there is, I think we should maybe, if we're gonna go that route, go with some RFQs and put it on the next agenda, this coming agenda, which is Tuesday, and so that way we can, let you go out and see what we can, who'll apply, ¿verdad? Now, the second thing is, if we do go that route, then I guess on the second meeting of August, then what I'd like to do is have a presentation how we did with the engineers, come in, do a little 5-minute spiel, and then we'll just decide on that day.
go this round, Mr. Jaime, would that give us enough time for advertising and submitting an RFQ? Is it 14 or 10?
10 days.
14 days. So that's 2
We'll be
weeks.
cutting it short.
Something that we have to request
Plus, if you're gonna do it professional, that it's under 30-day contract. If it's contract, services, as long as it's professional that you can terminate in 30 days, you know, you don't have to go.
We don't have to go for an RFQ?
No. You can submit request, you can put out, he can interview who he recommends to the board, to the commission to,
he as in the city manager?
yeah. And it's just gonna be hired as a consultant, not as a, so where you don't pay, you're not paying, all this insurance and stuff like that. And then at the point that you decide to go to hire somebody on staff, you could do it down the line, but right now we haven't had nobody there to at least look for grants for us.
Right.
Exactly.
And now that Ms. Attorney's here, is that something that will fall under professional service as far as the grants and, is that a professional? Or is that something that, we're talking about maybe the possibility of not rehiring a person for grants and contracts, but rather getting somebody in a professional services?
If you were to go as a consultant instead of a staff on city
As far
employee,
as for drafting the contracts
Yes.
or for how?
for going for grants.
Going for grants, applying for grants.
Grant
and stuff like
writer.
that.
Oh, like a
Yeah.
consultant? You
Exactly.
can, yes, that's consulting, that would be like consulting services for. under
Professional.
But it would
professional.
go
Okay.
under
Yes.
professional, so we wouldn't have to go for like RFQs or anything like that if the city
No,
manager decides.
you don't necessarily have to, not for the not for if they're like personal consultants within the granting.
Grant, yeah.
uh-huh.
Which he would be a consultant in 30 days is professional, that if we were to decide to hire somebody on the city, as a city employee, we could terminate him in 30 days.
Yes, you can have you can put a
Yeah.
clause in there for 30 days.
Okay,
Yes.
so we don't have to take no action on that. I'll take care of that.
Yeah, as long as como digo que tenga 30-day contract, that way at any point we can decide to terminate.
But if we go that route, do we have to leave it in there then?
No, I can take that off.
Okay, so there's no going back then.
No, if we go that route, I'd rather take,
You know, a lot of times you leave it there and you budget for it, because at one point, if you decide to go back, it's already budgeted. And if you were to hire, let's say that the consultant does not work, and he does not really doing grant writing that we want, and we want to hire somebody, it's already been budgeted that you can hire somebody and go out there and hire a grant writer. If you take it off, you're gonna have to adjust the budget down the line, so it's
Right.
better to leave it there.
Adjust it if we
Yeah.
decide to hire somebody. And if not, but we'll cross that bridge later on,
Yeah.
right? Anyway.
Because the consultant will always be also on either a retainer, or if they get the grant, then they get paid a percentage on that, so depending on what the contract is.
Yeah, because that's how,
Get until the end. See if we
Yeah,
need
because
to-
at the end, if you have extra money, you can always move it to something else that we really needed. If it works out the way you're doing it, was great, you know. If it doesn't work out, you already budget, you don't have to worry, you hire somebody as a grant writer. You know, right now, we don't have nobody in mind, and then all of a sudden, somebody pops out that it's a good grant writer, and you say, hey, we can't miss this opportunity, we need to take him on. So, La que no te entendí era which one you wanted under you?
I'm sorry?
What did you want under you that?
Oh, the administrative clerk.
Right now, she's under city secretary.
And I'm just moving the position over. I mean, as far as the responsibilities will not change, it's just the, who that position is gonna fall under.
The supervisor would be you instead
Right.
of.
It's actually como que you oversee her, so. Why-
That person does more for city sec versus helping me out or doing work for city manager's office. And I would really like somebody to be there with me at city manager's office versus having to asking for, can you do this for me?
Not too in favor of moving it that way.
I don't have a problem with it.
That's what I have. Oh, and the other one is just capital outlay that I have. I'm requesting for a PC. It's a very, it's an older computer that I'm having issues with.
You're up for you, for your
Yes,
office?
sir.
You're having issues with the one you have in your office?
Right. It's a slow computer.
Really? Has IT gone and checked it out for you?
Yeah.
What are the,
It just, it's one of those things that, I really don't know when it was purchased, but it's one of those, older PCs. Yeah. And it's not the only one that we have there within the city. There's a bunch of them that have already exceeded the life expectancy. So, that's all I'm requesting and asking. And we'll go to the, next one is, city secretary. Again, this one, city secretary is, go ahead.
if you guys are hungry, want something to drink, feel free, please, get up and get, okay? I know, you know, my stomach's growling too, so I'm gonna get up and.
Let's do a couple of them and then we'll
Okay,
take a little.
all right.
City Secretary's office, Ms. Cavazos, you wanna, do you want me to present? Well, that's, I know it's, she's fairly new, so one of the things on this particular department, she's not asking for any personal request or capital outlay, and it's just the reassignment of a position from her department to my department. Other than that, everything pretty much stays the same.
Good evening. On my department, I don't have capital out or request personnel, but I printed the quote that they had given us from the ticket writers from 2015 for 2 ticket writers, and I requested the gentleman from Brazos Inco to give me a new quote for this year, how much are for the 5 ticket writers. For the 2 that we had requested a quote in 2015, with the software and everything, the training, it would come out to $23,729. That's with everything.
Asking here is for handheld devices that'll give citations, speeding tickets, and usually this is a part of module that the PD is going to be handling. However, it's going to be purchased by the municipal court, and the way that this would be paid, and I know that we talked about this morning on the meeting, director's meeting, was that how much money do we have on the technology fund? This is something that can be purchased through technology fund, not necessarily through the general fund. So did you get a figure on that?
Yes, sir. In the technology fund, we have 15,000.
1.5?
15,000.
Okay.
15,683.
That's not included in our packet.
Not included, something
No.
that just came up? The judge requested that?
Yeah, we were talking about it in the morning, about, this year I didn't request it, but the previous years I did request the ticket writers. But since we didn't have the technology fund yet, so that's why this year I didn't put it, since we're barely building the fund, but it would be something that also would be considered purchasing if the city commission did.
Late this afternoon, about an hour ago, we just got information from one of the other vendors, and the vendors advised us that the ticket ride is going to cost us $1,500, and it's going to be integrated with Inco, so it's going to Santana is using.
So those machines are gonna do the tickets when
Yeah,
The-
we're going from handwriting to electronic.
to electronic? And
So this is
how many,
on
how many
two?
machines do?
We're gonna get, we're getting a quote for 5.
Okay.
Something that we just got about this morning, and then we decided 15. We've been asking for, well, we've been, talking about it for a couple of years now, so.
So then it automatically downloads to the court, right? As soon as you,
Once it puts in the docket.
exactly.
The officer finishes his shift, he just comes and loads, and within a second, we have all the tickets already, so they could come in and pay for it that same day.
7,500, 1,500?
Code, if there's an additional function that's activated, I think they charge, right, Leroy? I know, like, I've asked about being able to email POs directly from Encode, and there's a charge for that. I'm not sure if that would.
It goes like you said, if the software's already installed, maybe just the maintenance on it is something they need to.
And the version of Encode, whether it's.
We can get those figures.
For to email stuff out is very expensive.
I'll send you the company information.
Okay. Well, pretty much mine stays the same. We still have 6 employees, not requesting any employees or any capital outlay. So basically it's just the same as last year, so. Lenny?
No additional personnel is being requested. I do have some requests for a capital improvement. Number one is funding for a comprehensive plan for the city of San Juan. As you know, we have a zoning, and zoning is supposed to be based on a comprehensive plan, but we don't have a comprehensive plan. So every time we make decisions on zoning, if challenged, we could be in trouble because we do not have a comprehensive plan to guide us. So I'm requesting funding $75,000 for a comprehensive plan for the city. It's also like a vision plan for the community on where we want to go in the future. I'm also requesting funding for a new software for the planning and inspections and code enforcement department. Our software that we use right now is pretty obsolete, so we're trying to modernize on the software that we use. This proposed software will include a GIS program, which the bigger cities, if you go to their websites, you can see the maps online, you can get the zoning online, water lines, sewer lines. We don't have any of that, so the proposed software has a GIS component that will be very helpful for staff and for engineers, contractors, people interested in investing in San Juan. It will be very helpful. The software also will allow for garage sale permits to be issued online, building permits to be issued online. The building inspector could take a picture. If they go to an inspection, they could just take a picture, write notes in the picture, automatically put it in the program. The contractor, 1 hour later, could just see what happened, why the inspection failed. Right now, they have to call, and the inspector has to tell them, explain to them why the inspection failed, when sometimes a picture could just take care of that, where they can just see very easily why something failed. So it's just a program that will really modernize our software for planning and for inspections and for code enforcement that will allow us to catch up with the bigger communities. The installation of the program is $10,000. That's a one-time fee, and then there's a rental for the program, which is $24,000 over 1 year. And last but not least, we're requesting a new pickup truck. Right now, I have one truck with 212,000 miles. And still running good, but yeah, I think we need to upgrade our vehicles. I'm requesting one new truck for the department.
Comprehensive plan, Mr. Cervantes, is that different from what Ms. Bagley's working on for the EDC?
Well, what she did was, she did a project for the expressway. So it's kind of similar to the expressway planning project, but now it's citywide. The plan basically tells you, and part of the project is there's public involvement. So there will be community meetings where, similar to the meetings that we had for the expressway, where we ask the public, well, what's your vision for the community? How do you want the city to grow? Where do you want your industrial areas? Where do you want your apartment complexes? Where do you want, stuff like that. These are projects that get the community excited about the future. And also developers ask for plans sometimes. They want to see your comprehensive plan before they consider investing in your community. So the funding for the comprehensive plan, in my opinion, is money very well spent. Right now we're guessing on zoning. The zoning case that went before you last week for the apartments along CU, we don't really have a plan to guide us. I mean, we're guessing that that's where we want apartments, but hopefully we guess correctly.
Well, what part of this will we fix that planning on a building? Because every time we come, you said it's grandfather. To me, the understanding of grandfather is that once somebody sells the building, it's not under a grandfather.
No, that's.
Well, we need to address that, because I want something when, once it's sold, it's not grandfather to the owner that bought it. And if we need to go into more details, we go more details, because I know McAllen and some of those people don't have that. Every time that we sell a building here, we need to put an ordinance that once it's sold, it's not grandfathered by the previous owner.
San Juan Hotel is a grandfathered building. If that changes ownership, that's still grandfathered.
But you're looking more into a historical building.
It's the same. It's into all the old buildings.
Okay, I want to see a workshop between you and me, and I'll get you some people to address this item, because we need to address that where something is not grandfather, and once it's sold, and if we have to do some kind of city ordinance to change that, we need to change it.
But you want to change the policy, Commissioner?
Commissioner, it's like if a building is sold.
No, I understand what you're saying, but you're also saying that you want it changed.
No, we have to address it, so we can get all the details.
All right, as a commission, we need to make the changes if we feel the changes.
But if we could work it so we could bring and present you something.
I understand that. But the way you're coming across is that you want these changes.
Well, it's every time I ask the same question.
Well, because you're saying that every time that it comes up, that you get the same response. This is the first time that I hear of it, Commissioner.
No, Commissioner. That's why we got that, where the ambulance services never got paid, because they're doing under the grandfather clause.
Okay.
According to him.
Okay. And which other one?
There's several. You have one in the corner that's a car lot.
All I'm saying is, if you want the changes, it has to come through the board, not just you.
All I'm saying is that we're going to address it that way.
All right. We're going to address it.
I guess you can go and ask questions and you get your results, and I cannot ask questions and I get my results. Well, that's what I'm doing, sir.
Okay. You can.
Yes, I made a note of it.
Yeah, so that way we can get your legal in reference to that, and if determine the outcome of what the information you bring to us, then we can address that issue. Okay? Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, sir.
No, that's fine.
In the reference to the software, Mr. Cervantes, last year, I could have sworn I thought didn't we give you something? We didn't? We did it?
It was presented, but it was not approved.
It was
not approved. It was cut.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That was the only question I have for you, sir.
Okay, on this one, Mr. Cervantes, on the upgrading of the software, it says it costs you $10,000 plus $2,400 a month for running the program.
That's correct.
It's not a program that runs by itself?
The program is it's 10,000 for the installation, and then the rental is.
And rental 2,400.
We have a number right now that we use that is kind of obsolete, and we pay 300 a month.
Is it obsolete because you don't get all the information that you want in there, or?
Well, it's just that it doesn't allow us to sell permits online. It doesn't allow us to take pictures and post them online. The mapping software doesn't have it. It's just, there's a lot of advantages with the new program.
And this new one, it'll give all the other information that you need.
Yes. There's also a public works component in the program that if public works wants to be a part of it, they can be a part of it. It's just really automates and modernizes our software.
Okay. And it's gonna meet your current needs, because with technology it's gonna change, so maybe next year,
Yeah,
or year after. you're
as
gonna
technology
upgrade.
progresses, the software progresses.
Yes.
That's usually like every 2 years?
Yeah, once a year or twice a year.
I know that in the past there was some software that they were selling to the municipalities. The cost on the software, the SRE, and what's the other one, Mr. Salinas? GIS, the SRE. They were kind of expensive. And then you were subject to purchase the software, and then like 2-3 years it was obsolete because there were some features that were coming out, but you couldn't do them.
They were added.
And this way, we can look into the cost as far as the monthly fees and all that, and I understand what Mr. Cervantes is saying. Let's say there's a contractor goes on site, or let's say the inspectors, and it fails for whatever reason, it doesn't pass. So the contractors are calling and asking, and a lot of times the inspectors are not at the office, so they have to wait maybe 2-3 days before they actually go in and fix it. This way, the advantage is that the minute that they go in and do the inspections, that they'll either approve it or not approve it. And if it doesn't go through, they take a picture, it gets uploaded onto the web. By means of logging into their account, they can see what the issue is, and they can rectify it at that moment or the following day. So it expedites a little bit as far as the process going from getting the permit.
More into details. Okay.
As far as the pickup, we'll look into a pickup. I know that depending on what the need is, I know that the majority placed F-150 Word pickup, which is a full size. I know we talked about maybe like a mid-size pickup, or if the need is for a full size. But we're look into those figures with Mr. Jaime as well.
Now, is this the pickup, is that a brand spanking new one?
Yeah, well, or I'll take a used one. I'll take anything.
There's some pickups out there that, have like those demo trucks, that they sell these dealerships, 15, 20,000 miles.
Yeah.
I mean, if we can cost
but
there.
we prefer the full size because we're jumping curves all the time. We're. We wanted to.
Whatever you're gonna use it for.
But we'll take a used one. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Police.
Just a couple of corrections here or additions on 8.3, on the Homeland Security grant, that was to 150,000, 655, and also on the major goals on the bond, we committed a cost grant that was approved this past week, and that's.
Submitted a what? I'm sorry?
Cops
COPS
grant.
grant?
So the 3 new officers that we're asking for is for 3 officers that we added to the cops grant. We're gonna wait, no one is hopefully on this. So a couple of things that we are asking for, obviously, the 3 officers to increase our personnel from 40 to 50. We average about 20,000 calls a year, and that's in about 323. But that's based on the cops grant that we submitted. We're On capital outlay, we're asking for 2 new patrol units also as well. Replace older units that are 2007 Ford Expedition units. The equipment that includes in there are also radar, lights, prisoner cage, push bar, unit rails, and so forth. We do have a unit that's been granted to us already for the new fiscal year for Stone Garden. So we have a unit coming in also in September. So that's gonna allow us to, but that's specifically for grant work. Also the in-car video systems, portable radios, we're asking for tasers, and we're asking also for $25,000 to buy the mobile video software, which is cloud-based software for video camera systems, body camera systems, and they can be integrated into all the systems that we have in place. So there'll be no issues of evidence in body camera or in-car video evidence not being placed on file. So this is software that it is run by cloud-based, not in-house server. Right now, all the video, in-car video and body cam video, it's taking a lot of space in our servers. So we want to house this videos in a cloud base with a company that actually provides the in-car video and the taser cameras video. It's going to be housed in there. And then the last one, there's the AFIX system. Right now we're doing still hands fingerprint. You know, the AFIX system, it will be electronic. So bringing prisoners, everything will be electronic. So, you know, we do away with the hands, with fingerprint, using officers still using cards and stuff like that. So that's in a nutshell. That's the person that we're asking for, and the functions they're going to be having.
I'm going to go back to the jailers, Chief. Where do you get the rate from?
We got it from Ms. Cordero helped us out on job description also, but we got it from what jailers are being paid in Westaco, jailers are being paid in San Benito. They're equivalent more or less to our personnel. Westaco has an average about 60, 65 officers. We have, you know, close to 50 officers. San Benito has the same thing. So they're the only ones that have jailers, by the way.
I was asking because last year you submitted the same request and the hourly rate was 10, and you didn't get any. And now you're requesting the same 3, but now the hourly rate went up. That's why I wanted to what others are paying. Okay. All right. And then the job title, as listed here, is senior secretary. As listed over here is records clerk. Is that going to determine the pay? And if so, are we going with records clerk or senior secretary? On page 24, it shows that we're requesting a senior secretary. And over here, okay, that's why I'm making sure. So because the pay is going to be determined by the title. All right. So it's not a senior secretary, it's a records clerk. Thank you.
Now, Chief, on the 3 additional officers, those are coming out of that grant that you mentioned, right?
If we could get, if the grant is allocated to us.
Oh, so at this point, we don't know. So then if it's not, then it's gonna have to come out of the general fund. Okay.
Also, as a note, you will not see it in the reflection on the budget right now because we hadn't been approved on the application. So now we were approved, the application was submitted and approved that they received it. So if we do get granted, then we're gonna need to make an adjustment on this budget that's gonna be presented to you.
And by when would you know? Okay. Okay.
We were successful back in 2010 when we submitted an application for 2 and it was granted to us. So the way that the COPS grant works, Mary, is that it pays for the first 3 years, 100%, and then the last year, the 4th year, the city has to take over and pay for the benefits. You're looking at an average of benefit per officer per year about $47,000, including benefits and everything.
Per officer?
Per officer, about $47,000.
Are we understaffed, Chief?
Yes.
By how many?
Well, we're, we should be compatible with other cities such as San Benito and Westaco. we should be already close to 60, 65 officers in this department. We're 47 officers.
How many patrolmen do you have per shift?
An average of 5, but some of them on leave, on comp time, so minimum staffing is always 3. And when we have to do other duties such as transport vehicles, prisoners, we are below our minimum staffing, and that's where it concerns us. The other thing is concerning us, we have a meeting with the behavior unit this week. The other concern we're having is with the Section 28 and 26 is when we commit individuals, we're spending too many hours in hospitals because they need clearance before they get submitted to a behavior unit, and we're spending 17 hours, we're spending 18 hours, 12 hours, and that takes away from patrolmen. We are, those are things, and I think that by having the jailers, then we can assign the jailers to be at the hospital with those prisoners instead of us being there, instead of having a patrolman or an investigator or a supervisor over there in those areas.
So I see here that you have 37 officers right now, and you're asking for 3 more. Where do you utilize these 37 officers? If you're telling me that there's like 3 or 4 per shift.
Yes.
Are these officers, are these, let me ask you this, the SWAT officers, do they fall under patrol officers or?
Yes.
Because I don't see
Yeah,
anything.
everybody's patrol officers.
Okay,
Yeah,
they're peace officers, that's what you're saying?
They're just assignments that they're assigned to. We have 2 assigned to DA task force, 1 DPS task force, 1 assigned to HSI. Those are the officers, and 1 assigned to U.S. Marshals. So DA, HSI, DPS, and Marshal, all that as that's a forfeiture in return, which we have received as a forfeiture. You know, a lot of as forfeiture. So those are the officers assigned to those. So everybody's there's no the only rank is patrol, corporal, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and chief. Everybody's classified as a patrol officer. Yeah. So when we see 37, those are 37 patrol officers. Everybody's a patrol officer. So with the exception, if they don't have rank, then they're patrol officers.
Now, next question, Chief. Forfeiture funds, where are you at on that? I'm just.
We receiving
the amount, you know?
The amount that we have right now that's not allocated to the building is a little bit over 100,000. A little bit over 100,000 that we had another check come in, and we had an auction, and we have vehicles that we seize and we auction them. We just had an auction. We had 27,000 in that auction, but we still got to pay 10% for the bond person, and then we got to pay the 25% for the D's office. So they still get also a percentage there. So out of that, we got 18,000. So we still have, you know, about 45 to 50 other vehicles that we still got to auction off. So that helps us also. That helps us also.
Evening. Good afternoon, actually. Real quick on just adding for personnel, I put in for 6 to add to our staff. We have currently 1 position open right now. Had a resignation the other day, so we'll be filling that one within the next month or so. Real quick on I jumped the gun here. I didn't go by my objectives. Accomplished for the 2016, 2017, we secured $10,000 from the fire district number 4. We were able to replace our 2011 Pierce pumper with a new one, the one that was involved in that accident. Also secured $25,000 from precinct 2 for additional gear, but that I think we're still pending. I haven't actually talked to Commissioner Cantu yet, but they notified us back in March, so we got to wait to see what get an official notification from them. Also, we're looking into filling, as far as the personnel doing promotions, and we have 5 driver classified positions open. Right now, I had They were all filled at one time, but then we had some firefighters that moved on to other departments, so we currently have them in acting positions. A little bit of capital, I guess we could say. We're looking, I put in for, a couple years ago, I think about what, 3 years ago, we did the refurbish of Station 1. We did the interior, but we didn't get to cover the outside part of the fire station, so I'm looking into maybe replacing the majority of those panels that are already rusted out. I think that station was built back in, I'm gonna say early 70s. And it was remodeled from the interior, but never on the outside. So we've got some pretty bad rust panels on through the interior. We got had an issue some time back with rodents getting inside the station. Also put in for a replacement or actually refurbishing of our ladder truck. It's 2007. They need to be refurbished every 10 years. That was $500,000. Also a couple of equipment for the station, physical training equipment, one for each station. We were utilizing the system with the school district as far as them allowing them to go into their facility to use the gym there at the high school, and then at the one at Raul Isaguirre. But that pretty much went to a halt. I think there was an issue. I think the principal wasn't not on the same page as far as when we started utilizing their equipment. So we seized that. So we're looking into purchasing some equipment so we can have there at the station, have our own equipment. And pretty much under civil service, we're required to supply them with the physical equipment. A brush truck, a replacement. We had a 1993, and pretty much the bed rusted out on that one, so we gave it. I passed it over to sanitation. The tank and the pump were pretty much since 1993, and really hadn't done any work to it. So I put in for one of those truck two, one of those brush trucks, and of course our tanker. We're in the same spot with 1993 also. That truck is pretty much had it. It's provided its service. So that's what I'm submitting for 2018.
I'm gonna go back to your staff, firefighters. That's the starting pay, 22?
You know that I was, well, yes, sir. That's
Because last year, starting, according to last year's numbers, was 28. So my concern is, which numbers
See,
are
the
accurate?
thing there, Commissioner, I think what the issue is, no, we're looking at a firefighter, once he passes his 1-year probation, he jumps from 10.8 to 11.95, so it'd be 24.856. I don't know where these numbers, this is probationary.
22.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Okay. Does the same rule apply to the driver engineer? Because
Correct.
last year, you had them at 33, and now it shows 26. I want to make sure these numbers are accurate, because
Because you know what, that right now that you're talking about that, I was going over some of these pay scales over here in from another department, and I was like, yeah, I didn't think we were that bad.
I know.
So I think there's some typos here. I might have some typos.
Yeah,
But,
we need to make sure on these numbers.
Yeah.
It seems too low.
But probationary, I think it's 11.95, if I'm not mistaken, and we got these.
This should be the
somewhere-
24, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Almost 25.
Yeah.
So let's just double check these numbers.
Double check the figures, Commissioner.
We need to check those figures. The driver engineer, yes, I think so. I have to check, double check them, but yes, there's probably typos.
Like Mr. Leroy Gonzalez is saying that maybe that one was included, including the benefits, and the one that is here is without the benefits, but we'll look into that.
Okay. And you are understaffed, Chief?
Correct, yes, sir.
By how many, do you know?
We're supposed to be at 34.
We're supposed to be at
and
34.
we have, we currently 22. Yes, sir.
At 34, and you're at 22.
I have 22 and should be at 34. Either way, realistically, if we were to say that we did have the 34, you know, for a grant or whatever, we wouldn't have room for personnel. The station on the north side, the dorm is a 10 by 10. And I think the one over here on the south side is a 10 by 10 also.
To accommodate 25, we're good.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
these salaries are based on what we had last year and this year, but how does the new union come effect when, are we gonna budget into it, or how is it gonna, what do we expect out of it?
Actually, as a matter of fact, we're gonna be working with the consultants. We'll be starting maybe next week, the week after, once has the contract been signed already, or is that something that we're still working on the contract? Yes.
Oh, these numbers might change?
All these are contingent upon the final comprehensive
Seen. Monday?
On the police department side, the salaries are low based on our current police officers.
What, Chief? Low? I think what pretty much you'll see in our reports, they supplement, or in my part of the fire department, they supplement their salaries with overtime. You know, if any overtime comes up, they pretty much, I think we're the lowest also in the valley for starting pay as a firefighter.
You know, I'm just asking because if that changes, that means your two departments are gonna change on the budget if something, you know, whatever's negotiable, you know, that's gonna increase your budget, you know, that's, the other staff, they don't have that, so whatever comes, that's gonna be, yeah, right, so, yeah. And I know that probably we're gonna have 2 more readings and we might know more about it by then, but.
Before we go to streets and alleys, would you like to eat the sandwiches and the drinks and the chips? Or you want to continue? It's up to you.
And whoever y'all decide, I mean, if you guys want to get something to eat during the workshop, feel free to get up and go, okay?
Next one that we have is Public Works, Streets and Alleys. Ms. Carmen?
Accomplishment is that we have the street sweeper out every day now. We've had him out 2 months. This will be the 2nd month. The potholes are always a challenge because we can repair them today, and if it rains tomorrow, we'll have to repair them when the weather permits. We have done some repairs with cement work. We're going to start doing another repair to the post office entry this coming August 7th. From 4 o'clock in the morning, we're going to start repairing them on Monday so that we don't inconvenience the residents that much.
Monday of next week, ma'am?
Pardon?
Monday of next week?
Monday of next week, August 7th. And there's signage on, well, I put an ad in the paper, a public service in the paper. It's also on the website. And the signage should be up tomorrow so that we give them enough notice so that they're not inconvenienced a lot, and starting early. Mowing of right-of-ways and main streets, and that is kept, we're trying to keep that up, especially like your main streets. We try to do the residential also, but your main streets and your alleys, we try to, now you can see alleys from one end to the other. The problem that we have, of course, is to try to keep up when the residents, they go ahead and, you know, you clean up today and tomorrow it's almost the same. Traffic lines on major streets. I have Mr. Cervantes, who is kind enough to let me know what needs to be painted, like we're gonna do Rich Road on the curb. I only have 2 employees that do that, and they also have other assignments, but we're trying to keep up with that. As far as personnel, I'm not asking for personnel, I'm asking for reclassification of one of my employees. He was hired as a laborer, but 90% of his work that he does is to, well, he's the guy that does the demolition. He uses heavy equipment, and he's getting paid as a laborer. And most of his duties are heavy equipment operating. Oh, I'll take it back. Heavy truck driver. That's how they're classified. But he uses all the heavy equipment. He's at 945, and I want to bring him up to 1098.6, because I think it's just the right thing to do. As far as capital, I want to see if we can get a street roller. We're doing the coal mix right now. What we're doing is blowing out the debris, having them fill it, and then we're using a portable. Unfortunately, that portable to bring up and down, we're trying to think of a way to do a winch, or if not a winch, to put it on like a truck. The truck that the chief gave us, that was a tanker, right, Chief? What we did was we converted it into a truck for street repairs. So it's got the bed lining in the back, and we put the coal mix in that, it doesn't fall out, and they carry their equipment on top. But this equipment that they use, it's too heavy for them to be bringing up and down. So I think a roller, not a big size roller, but a medium sized roller will help, because it does keep the streets longer. And that's 25,000, and that's all I have.
I don't know, real quick. I found a problem, Commissioner. They did the multiplication of 2080 of a regular work week, and they work at 2756 yearly. So the firefighter entry is 29,158.
It's 29?
158.
158,
The
okay.
entry, and then after probationary, it jumps to 32,934. And then the engineer driver is 34,475. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Carmen, you don't know how big that street roller you're looking at?
It's a medium size, it's not huge. We've used it before. We used it at HEB and Walgreens. We rented it, but I think having our own, because what they're doing now is they're throwing the coal mix, and then they're having to use that.
I've seen them do it, yeah.
And
Right here at the corner, they were doing it the other day, right?
And I think by using a roller, it'll be a lot easier for everyone. And we can do it faster, too.
What about, you don't think you might need a trailer for that?
We
You know,
do
like-
have, we have several trailers, yes, we do.
That will hold the weight?
Yes, I think we do. And I know that.
Let me ask you
utility
this, is
does.
it a single axle or is it a double axle trailer?
I think it's a single.
Yeah, you might
Yes.
need a
It's
double.
not super heavy. It's not that heavy. We've used utility equipment.
Sure.
Buy those rollers with their own tires to tow them themselves. They're equipped with a hydraulic set of tires to where you can pull them with a regular F-250 pickup. They tow themselves. We had them in Westlaco, 2 of them, so they were towed by a regular, you don't have to put them on trailer.
So an F-250 or 150?
You can tow it with the F-250.
Oh, but
Depending on the
far-
weight, depending on the size. I mean, you may be able to tow it with an F-150 as long as the tow package and the engine size. But you can buy those already equipped with the hydraulic tires so they can tow themselves. And you don't have to buy another trailer.
Okay. Good. I like that.
My garage, we kept up with all the emergency vehicles. The most important, all the vehicles are important for the city, but we keep up with the emergency vehicles first. If both chiefs bring a vehicle, that's the first priority, plus our garbage trucks. Those are, now we're pretty much, knock on wood, up to par with as far as the repairs of the vehicles. So I have some of the mechanics on projects. My main mechanic is going to convert an old city garbage truck into a roll-off. And we can't use the side where the handle that grabs the containers. We tried everything and it's no good anymore. It's just, the system does not work. So what we were thinking about, or he was thinking about, why not converting into a roll-off? Just cut off the top, part of the top, low enough so that we can dump our, whatever we need to, trash in that. And all you do is go to the landfill and just like a garbage truck, just, you know. So the mechanics are very talented, very, very talented. They've taken a vehicle that utility gave us and we converted it into our own Vector truck. And we have already used it on the street at Chaparral. Let's see. Well, I have one body and fender specialist. This gentleman repairs just about anything he can weld. He's doing some of my roll-off containers right now, welding them, fixing them a little because they're very expensive. So he's trying to refurbish them, trying to keep it with the shop and not sending them out because they're pretty bad. They're pretty poor. But we're saving at least $3,000 when he repairs them. And that's all I have.
How are we in tools? I know at one time they were using their own tools.
Oh, we have plenty.
We're good?
We have no problem.
How you guys keep track on the tools?
All the mechanics that I have right now, all of them have their own tools. They came with their own tools in there. If there's a tool that we don't have, then what I do is I'll purchase it, and we have a supply cabinet, and it's put in they have to log it out. And once they bring it back, they have to log it back in, and it's kept under lock and key. So we don't have any problems with tools at all.
In our Parks Department, I'm not asking for any additional employees. We're gonna stay the same. We've since filled the assistant director position, so now we're fully staffed in the parks. On the outlay, I had put for a riding mower. We're gonna go ahead and do away with that since we were able to find some monies in the current budget to purchase 2 of them at this point, so we don't have to go there. After this was submitted, I started doing a more thorough inspection of our parks vehicles. So I might have to amend it to possibly ask for 1. Trying to see still, I've identified a little bit more surplus that I may be bringing back to the board or to the commission to maybe getting one of those vehicles without having to increase or to get it in through the general fund. So I'll be bringing that to you here shortly. But as far as staff, there won't be any increase. The swimming pool, well, that at this point is kind of stays as is. There's no movement on that.
Mayor and I know the talks is that maybe they're still figuring out the numbers and they're still figuring out the location. The last time that we met, Mayor and I know that one of the direction was that to build something like in between San Juan and Alamo, and preferably in San Juan. And then they met with the people in Alamo, and because they wanted an Alamo side. So what Dr. King mentioned was that maybe what he can do is probably, if depending on their funding, is maybe having one in San Juan and one in Alamo. So it's just going to be some sort of an agreement between the city of San Juan and the school district, and as well as Precinct 2, with the collaboration in working on that swimming pool. But that'll be brought before you guys, hopefully within the next couple of months. So we'll know what's going on with the swimming pool.
In building maintenance, not asking for any more positions as well. Right now, we will begin interviewing to fill a vacant position that a retired custodian.
So this additional custodian is not an additional after all?
No, it's just one that retired.
Okay, because here's additional, new request. No?
That's a typo. Yeah, it's not a,
No, this is an additional one. So you're not asking for an additional custodian?
I'm sorry. Yes, because I had the new PD coming. So, because we take care of those buildings, I went ahead and requested an additional. Since they work through holidays and weekends, and with the new building coming in, we went ahead and asked for a new one.
How long has that one, the one that hasn't been
month.
filled? A month?
Yeah, yeah, and we closed the position already, and we'll be getting it ready here in the next couple of days. You want me to go ahead and do recreation, or you're going to go library next?
The library.
Yeah, let's go library.
Let's just
We'll
follow
go
the book.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I have the big, is the capital outlay. I need to replace the computers. They were bought in 2011. Library was built, so they're 6 years old and some of them are not working properly, so we need to replace. I asked for them last year, but we were not granted the computers, so I'm asking again. I think it's the same amount I asked for last year. The desktops and the monitors, some of them are working. I think we need to replace only 15 monitors. But the laptops, the desktops need to be replaced. I'm also asking for one employee at Library 8 on page 69 to, 68 and 69 to help with the events and there's been situations when I have only 3 employees working because either they're sick or they're on vacation. In October, I'm gonna have 2 employees going on vacation for a week. So we're gonna, at the same time. I think his brother is getting married in Mexico somewhere, so he's gonna be out of the country. And Christina has asked to go, she's going to Europe on her yearly trip, so those are already planned, so there's no way I can say no to one and
How much in advance do they have to notify?
At least a couple of weeks, sir.
A couple of weeks in advance?
Yeah.
And you approve them?
Their leave, departmental directors, yes, but not their staff.
Not the staff?
Right. Questions, if we can continue with recreation?
Okay, and recreation, I am not necessarily requesting any additional staff. However, I am requesting some reclassification of some employees. Throughout the year, we've had the trend has been a steady increase in participation. The most coming, as I've mentioned before, this past spring, and we're looking to add some additional, I guess, their programs, services to our coaches, a national training certification process by where they're trained to work with our youth. We're improving the guidelines and the structure of our programs so that we maximize each program and try to maximize the amount of participation that we're getting, from the community. So with that, again, I'm not asking for an increase, but some reclassifications. So right now, our current administrative clerk, I would ask to reclassify as administrative assistant. We've got 3 divisions that we oversee: recreation, parks, and building maintenance. A lot of her time is taken up just handling the budgets, the purchase orders, the check requisitions. One of the things that we're working on, or I'm working on real closely with our park superintendent and building maintenance, is to make sure that we have a complete inventory, that we keep it updated, that we keep the maintenance on our vehicles and our machinery updated. This will be all the things that I would rely on my administrative assistant to help with, to make sure that we're well organized, that we keep up with all our inspections, our certifications, things of that nature. One of our rec assistants, I would then ask to become a clerk, a full-time clerk, to handle the flow of the traffic that comes through the office, registration, rentals, answering phones, just a more day-to-day focusing just on that area. We have an events coordinator, and I'm recommending we reclassify to a recreation superintendent. Already, he does a lot of that work as we speak now, besides help coordinate the few events that we have throughout the year. A lot of the logistics, a lot of the community outreach, he's already doing. So this would better, the job description would better fit what he's doing on a day-to-day basis right now. I'm looking to do away with the recreation supervisor and just reclassify it to a recreation assistant. The work, again, that this particular employee is doing is that of a rec
Again,
assistant.
you're listing titles that are not listed. I don't know why we're getting this information and they're not listed as they're being explained. Yes, the job titles that he's referring to are not even listed on here, and job titles that are being created are not listed on here either. Yes.
Oh, because they're in this one.
Yeah, but they're you can see the other one. Go to page 75.
Page 74 and 75.
Under reclassifications, from, to, right?
Yes.
That's what I've been following.
Yes, sir, but they're not listed here. These are the positions that are, job titles and positions that they have, and they're making changes to. So they should have been listed accordingly on this page, page 74. Now, out of those 5 that you have, I see that you're promoting 3 out of the 5, demoting 1, and for future references, I don't think names should be included in these. It's just job titles. I don't think that's right. Second of all, again, there's some events coordinator is not listed here as a current job or position that we have it with our city, but it's here. So, what other title? Where would it fall? Is it? Recreation superintendent? Is the
That's the new one.
Oh, these are the new positions up here.
Right.
Before it was approved. The changes were made. Okay.
So what you're saying is it should have been listed twice?
It should have been listed, okay, if we're no longer gonna have an events coordinator, you're doing away with that position, and you're creating something new. That's the way it should be reflecting on this page 74.
All you're doing is just changing the titles. Mainly it's what you're doing, and give them a little promotion.
Titles and responsibilities.
Yeah, and responsibilities.
Yeah, it's creating a new position, it's not just changing the title.
Yeah.
They're not just changing the name. Is the only one that's currently. If you're doing, I mean, because right here, you're saying we already have recreation assistant 2, recreation assistant 2. So we don't have any recreation assistants 1, level 1?
Yes.
We do? So that's the only other employee that's not listed here then? As getting a promotion or a demotion? Correct?
Yes.
That's the only one.
Yes. On the new personnel request worksheet, that should be recreation assistant 1, not 2. From that to senior clerk.
So it's from?
From recreation assistant, it should be a 1.
Yeah, one.
That should be a
senior
1.
clerk.
Yeah. That to a clerk.
So that is the current, we only have one recreation assistant at level 1? Okay, so then.
At level
So
1.
then here you would be doing away with that position?
Correct.
I'm getting different answers. One says yes, one says no.
Right.
I'm sorry, say that again?
One and making.
So we will never have a.
2 number 2s.
One is getting demoted. Number 2s and no 1.
Correct.
Again, I refer to this where it shows only 1 and doesn't show 2.
What we'll
So
do
we're
on
just
the
gonna
other one
fix
is,
this one because
like for instance, events coordinator, we'll list it, we'll put it as 0.
At 0 because we're gonna do
Superintendent,
away
it's a
with
1.
that and.
We'll do that.
Okay, yeah. I'll make that change. Apologize. And then as far as capital outlay, well, I put in there our current vehicle is about 18 years old. So I was requesting a utility vehicle model for just the different needs of the department. Traveling to and from our quarterly meetings that we have throughout the valley with the different departments. Taking equipment to and from the office to our different sites, whether it's programs going on at the schools, Amigos del Valle. Soon we're going to have more events going on at the precinct 2 over on Nolena, with the new Boys and Girls Club coming in. So, like I said, our current model is about 18 years old. It's kind of old. It's requiring quite a bit of maintenance. So, currently staff many times use their own personal vehicles.
Wouldn't Mr. Willingham truck be more feasible than a Ford Explorer?
For the parks office, we were looking at something covered, just to fit, you know, some more staff. I mean, for when we need our big truck, we do have a 250 in the Parks Department that we'll use when we have that need. The more need is getting staff around, so sending 2 or 3 staff members to a meeting or to an event. So we didn't, you know, really go as big. But I mean, I can go back and, you know.
You know, because you can utilize. I mean,
Sure.
You're always.
Or we look at a full-size truck, yeah, then we can do that too.
4-door or something.
Sure.
I'm just throwing that out
No,
there.
no, definitely.
You know.
Yeah, we can consider a model like that as well. That's about it. That's all I have.
Real quick, I'm gonna go back to the breakdown of summer employee projected salaries. If I recall correctly, I questioned this several months back when I asked Mr. Willingham how many of these summer employees are getting paid more than the $10 an hour that our regular employees get paid. And I was told that there was none. Now, looking at this breakdown, we do have several that are getting paid $12.06, and there are some that are getting paid $10.46 per hour. On page 77.
Yes.
That's when we were trying to get all our employees at $10 an hour, and we got resistance from previous commission members that nobody was getting paid from any other department more than $10 an hour. Now here is the proof that we do have temporary employees, seasonal employees that are getting paid more than the 10. Can we minimize it to 10, or do you think you're gonna lose quality instruction if we don't?
Absolutely. We'll definitely, because even at 12, we're under what other cities pay. Other cities pay their head instructor 15. FAR, McAllen. And a head instructor, I believe we require a degree. Usually they're a certified coach.
And I don't have a problem with it, Mr. Willingham. The problem that I have, and I'm gonna go back to the rest of our staff that is not at 10 an hour. So let's see what we can do to bring everybody else to 10. Right.
You still have that study that we're doing, the woman from Fort Worth? Wasn't she doing a study on this?
They haven't started yet, correct?
Barely about to get started.
The issue was not that we didn't want to give everybody $10, just that it was a pay scale to make it fair to everybody,
Right.
not only certain individuals.
Like seasonal employees.
It's about what, 25 or 33 employees under $10 an hour,
Yeah, it wasn't too many.
right? Some 25, 28 hours.
What the exact figure was that it was gonna cost us yearly? Right.
Yes, exactly. I think it was an additional 33 or 35,000 a year for those employees. More or less. 35,000 yearly. Mm-hmm. Okay. What's next?
Mayor and Commissioners, there's no capital outlay in my department. What I am asking for is I currently have a part-time administrative clerk. She's working with me about 14 and a half hours a week. The rest of the time, she's spending 14 and a half hours in the HR department. This position has been a great help. Very fortunate to have this individual, and I'm asking for a full-time position to get that additional help for 40 hours a week.
That's something that Ms. Carmen has been requesting for a couple of years, right, Ms. Carmen? I think it's about time.
So it's just, the nature of the work that we deal with and the requirements to respond, the customer service to our frontline employees, our supervisors and department heads requires a lot of attention. Every department is important, and every department would like an immediate response. It's difficult with the current staffing, so that additional help will actually help all the departments, and I think it'll help satisfaction as well. There's when we're dealing with our finances with the credit cards, I have to handle a lot of that myself, even though some of the work is just paperwork, but to make sure that those credit cards are taken care of, we have the police, fire department, and utilities that go out traveling. There's a process to make sure that they can get into the hotels without having to show a credit card, and that takes a little bit of extra work, and it's discouraging when they show up and there's a problem and they can't get into the hotel room. That does happen. It has happened over the years. We're trying to decrease that. And it's just really customer service for our city employees, our departments. And I think it'll be an asset there.
I don't think you get it for the 4.5 hours.
With regards to HR, I'm asking for that employee that risk management and purchasing share to make that position. I have a part-time with 14.5 hours, get full-time. And basically that's to assist with the day-to-day operations of the collection and departments. Basically, along the same lines with Mr. Hynek, it's assist in coordination of the requests. We get calls from the public, we get calls requests, open records requests, we get things like that. It's time-consuming researching and things like that. I think it is a little better assist the rest of the departments, keeping up with advertising, keeping up with, things of that nature. So now with a comprehensive study, this person along with, my other staff members is gonna help out, with this problem.
I know you've been requesting. Right. I know you've been requesting for the full-time position for a couple of years already. I know that 2 years ago when we approved it, I thought it was going to be one for you and one for Ms. Gonzalez, but it didn't work that way. Yes.
We thought it was gonna be one for purchase
Yes.
and one for me, but we ended up sharing it. And as far as actual holiday, I'm requesting a storage cabinet that's more for files and study resources, specific service and supplies and things like that. Just kind of gives us more room to work with there, and when we have personnel or employees there, it gives us.
Didn't we give you one last year? Oh, it was in a storage cabinet? Okay. Let me ask you this, do you have room for it? No, are you gonna have room for that? Oh, okay. We'll have room, okay.
Technology, the gentleman will probably be starting his job on Monday. I'll go through it, some of the stuff that has been requested. There's no personal request at this point. The only items is the capital outlay We can see they're looking for, or they're asking for a vehicle to replace what they currently have is a 98 Crown Vic, and also they have another 99 Crown Victoria. One of them, they're asking for a full-size pickup and something like a Nissan Sentra or Eco. Wireless infrastructure upgrade, that's something that's more like a backbone for the whole city, for internet access. It is, at times, I know that the PD, fire department, pretty much everybody uses it, so that'll allow the backup, the speed of the department use to be a little bit faster, or a lot faster than what we currently have. The fire department and water plant switch, these are switches that are used at their departments where all the connections go in. Apparently, currently, what we currently have is already unsupported switches. They reached the end of their life, so they're asking for a couple of switches to replace what we currently have. At the PD, is that for the new PD, Chief, or is that for where you currently are?
That's currently what we're at.
Where you currently are? It's an older server. They're asking for $7,000 worth of an equipment that is pretty much what it's worth, and they're asking for it to replace what we currently have, which is an old server. Unitrans backup replacement for PD. This is a backup that it'll replace the old appliance that they currently have. They seem to be like big dollar items, and they are. Anything that is a technology, it is quite of an investment on. But that something like that will probably last us for the next 5, 6, 7 years. The firewall is something that that pretty much everybody is so worried about the firewalls that there's no penetrations coming into the city. So replacing what we currently have, that'll help the not only PD but pretty much the support services. I'm sorry, not support services, human resources, the finance, anything that is confidential. So that there's hopefully with this it'll eliminate the needs of any sort of attack or penetrations or any of that nature. Then the other one is software for the new servers and workstations. Is what they're replacing. Asking here is a VMware. What it is more like a virtual servers instead of buying actual equipment that'll take, let's say, $7,000 of an equipment. They're replicating in a way that with $20,000 you replicate different servers by using one server. And again, the gentleman will be here on Monday. We'll go through this and he'll do an evaluation and assessment. If it's needed, we'll bring it before. If not, we'll take it off and bring it before you all for your consideration on that as well. Carmen, I'm sorry.
I have a question for you,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
What would be the charge to have free Wi-Fi in our parks? What would something like that?
As a matter of fact, we have free Wi-Fi. We have it at the municipal park. We have free Wi-Fi. The other.
But I'm saying like for the rest of the parks. That's the only place we have free Wi-Fi?
Yes, that's the only place. We will need to, I'm not really sure what the number would be, but we're looking at anywhere between 7,500 to 10,000 just for the radio antenna, and then the different places, the different antennas that you want to put, around the park. So it'll be an investment. I want to say anywhere between 25,000 per park. Yes.
Yeah, I was just curious on that. Okay.
And I know that we'll be meeting with the school district tomorrow about a project that they're trying to implement into the district and hopefully bleeding over to our city.
That's a fiber, no? A fiber ring?
That's the fiber, but once we get the fiber, we don't have the necessity of going with wireless. I mean, communicating back and forth. It'll be more like a fiber, and then tap into it with their own internet, but we don't have to provide any of that.
So we had to provide some money to it.
No, I understand.
Porque el fiber was, that question came up sometime back.
Right.
Ahora, el district have otro deal de, como amigos allá en los, ¿cómo se llaman esos? Las casas que.
Projects?
Housing projects. Quería poner el district Wi-Fi en los housing projects para que así los kids tuvieran access in the surrounding. So those two different things, pero you might ask them, Y después salieron, con ese otro salió que la library tiene Wi-Fi, and if we would have a satellite library, nomás que tuviera computers to the north side,
that would provide also Wi-Fi for the surrounding neighborhoods.
Like the library that we were thinking, that we talked about at first, many months ago, was over at the wetlands for their curriculum that they want to bring over to the city and have some sort of, like you're saying, a satellite library. And somehow with that funding, it'll fall under the educational side of it, and it'll qualify so that they can issue out internet access to the wetlands.
So
Area?
kids, would it be up,
Well, that's only for the, for the
wetlands.
instruction there. If we have, like you're saying, a satellite library, like on the north side or at any other place, it all depends how many antennas are we gonna be allocated in different places.
No, también acuérdate que ahora vas a tener el Boys and Girls Club que tiene
Right.
Mr. Cantú up there, que that might have Wi-Fi too. That area también.
Just a matter of working together with them and see what kind of an agreement we can come up with. But most definitely, if we can provide access to the surrounding area, it'll be something worth looking into.
Is he asking for more funding del city para help him out allá,
Where it's,
para el Boys and Girls Club?
the only funding that I'm aware of is the, what he came over and proposed during one of the meetings. I want to say it was 18,000 or something like that. Or 30, no, I think it back, 33, 34. Something, yes. 34, 35, something like that.
Different than what we had 10,000 nomás allocated for Boys and Girls Club.
So we don't have anything allocated
Not
for
anymore.
Alamo. We have 5 for Alamo.
Right, it was 5. Not anymore.
We have nothing allocated for.
Scarby?
On the stormwater, I have 2 laborers. This is a fairly new department, especially for me. What I want to do in my is to have the employees educated, trained, including myself, because I know there's more to just going in and cleaning out the inlets. The employees have done most of the north side, east and west. Right now, I have them concentrating on the south side, the areas that flood. We are currently at the Housing Authority, cleaning out the inlets in there, which were pretty bad, because that's one of the areas that floods. Chaparral was already done once. We're gonna go back in there and check it out again. But like I said, this is fairly new, and training is, I think, the most important in this department right now. I don't have any, that's it, I don't have any capital outlay or new employees. Yeah, sanitation, this is my biggest department. Everyone knows that we cleaned out the brush site at a low cost and in a real quick time. TCQ has come to visit, and they were very, very pleased with the outcome. We are now, currently, we have at the shop our 3 new vehicles. They finally came in, the 3 new sanitation trucks. I was telling the city manager I would like to have a photo shoot with the commission and the employees. I'd bring out not only the 3 new ones, the 2 2016s that we never advertised, and the sweeper, so that we can have a total of 6 vehicles to put in the paper and show that the residents that their tax dollars are being utilized. Let's see. The scheduling of the brush, it's done in 2 different ways. We have one for the alley, which is under street, and then one for the brush, which is on the street part of it. They're keeping up with it. Fortunately, the grapple truck has not, they haven't broken down or anything. We have been, for the last almost 2 months, 5 days ahead of schedule. We're already 5 days ahead of schedule. So I'm utilizing the employees to go back around again for the 5 days that we're ahead of schedule to pick up what the residents are bringing out again.
Let me comment on that, Carmel. I've been driving around City of San Juan, and I've been seeing your workers picking up trash at the section or the quadrant they're supposed to, and they're doing a good job.
Thank you. And
Just to let you
like I
know.
said, since we are ahead, that's why I really truly do believe that eventually the city will have a once a week, a once a month for the entire city. I think that's gonna have to come with also the help of my employees, try to get someone to be my, Cervantes has been helping a lot, his people, to have my own dedicated code enforcer. Because I think if we did that, we could see the once a month pickup for the entire city. Let's see. The recycle is being kept up. The vehicles are doing good. My old garbage trucks, we're going to go ahead and trade in 4 of them now that I have my new ones. I'm waiting for my front loader with the burn unit. That should be done within a week or so. That way I will be able to go ahead and do the exclusive pickup of trash for the businesses. We have 38 businesses that are still not under the city. The employees are going out. I have 2 employees that are dedicated to going to North Alamo, all the residents that have North Alamo, because we're seeing that some of the residents have 3 and 4 containers that they shouldn't have, and they're paying for one pickup, 1 container, and they have 3 additional, which when we pick them up, they ask for them, and then of course, there's a fee to have an extra container. The same thing on this side. We're not only dedicating it to the North Alamo, we're also doing it to the city. The delinquent account has been reduced. I put on there that we went from 190,000 to 2,000, but right now we're at $640. So that has gone down considerably. I'm asking.
What was that number again, ma'am? You said 600, how much?
$645. That is what the delinquent account is right now. What we do is we ask finance for a report monthly. And then what we do is we go over the report. If a resident or a business is more than, 3 months, that's what they tell us. They have to be 3 months delinquent. What we do is we call them. We give them a courtesy call and let them know that if they don't pay fully their bill by, say, a week, then we go and pull their container. And believe me, they have been paying, because we're down to $647. Yeah, versus the 190,000. So that has been, a major accomplishment. What I want to do is reclassify 3 employees. The receptionist clerk has major responsibilities. One of the commissioners asked about the phone. The phones are constantly ringing. They forever are ringing, and I have one person that's answering the phone. She does send them to the Parks Department, but there's just so much. She handles all the walk-ins. She handles all the complaints. If I'm not there, she handles the office, and she's very, very good at it, and I think she's being underpaid. She has a lot of responsibilities.
By the reclassification, Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Are you doing away with the receptionist clerk, or are you going to hire a receptionist
No, I'm going to
clerk?
do away with the receptionist
Okay,
clerk.
so we can.
I have other plans, Mayor Pro Tem.
Monday?
I have other plans for my department in the future.
Okay. Yeah, but it's listed as budgeted 1 receptionist clerk, so we can scratch that?
No, she's going from receptionist to senior secretary.
All right, so we can scratch that one.
Yes.
Should be 0.
Should be 0. I also reclassified 3 of my laborers for the same reason. They spend 90% of their time using heavy equipment. They're also part of the demolition crew, also part of the street repairs where they have to use heavy equipment. They drive the street roller. They're just, I think for what they do, they should be compensated, because they're not laborers. They're heavy truck drivers.
Now, again, on that one, you have 9 currently, is that correct?
9 what?
9 heavy equipment operators?
Yes, those are our.
So by reclassifying those 3, we're going to 12, correct? Not 14?
No, let me tell you what's.
Okay.
The 9, I have 14 right now.
You have 14 right now.
Right. The heavy equipment operators are really the garbage truck drivers. The titles are, to me, backwards. Because a heavy equipment operator, to me, is somebody that uses a backhoe and uses of Doosan, and that to me is a heavy equipment operator. But here, the heavy equipment operators are your sanitation truck drivers.
Okay.
So I think with the compensation plan, they're going to change the titles.
And these require CDL.
Yeah, and they require CDLs. And your heavy truck drivers do not require CDLs, but they use heavy equipment.
And the heavy truck drivers?
Are your employees that use backhoes, Doosan.
And how many do you currently have in that?
I have wait a minute.
Because it says here you're going from 8 to 4?
Oh, yes, because I moved some over to also CDLs, because they have their CDLs.
During the budget, during the year.
During the year,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It's already been
No,
done.
yes, they're not gonna impact the budget at all.
Okay, okay, okay.
So I'd like to reclassify those employees. And as for my capital, all I'm asking for is just containers. And unfortunately, the containers for the businesses are expensive, plus roll-offs. Those 30 cubic yarders that we rent out when they're building homes or brush pickup, they'll use them for, like the Shrine uses them for brush pickup. And a riding mower. A 0 for the smaller right-of-ways, because the big ones can't go on some of those narrow right-of-ways.
Ford Rangers are the small pickups, correct? And they cost an F-150? 25? And the F-150 is 24? Mr. Cervantes? Más o menos? ¿Eh?
Yeah, used one.
One has roll-up doors and the other one's push-button.
Ah, okay, con razón.
No, we look at the numbers. I know that
Yeah, just-
that was more like an estimate that we've been
And that's-
using before. But we'll look at those numbers when we bring them back.
Yeah, because if, I mean, if they cost 25, pues mejor go with a full-size pickup. Okay.
Life's kind of steep, yeah, for a Ford Ranger.
I know.
Usually they're about, what, 18 maybe? ¿Verdad?
Yeah,
We're
I,
supposed to bring them back. But I mean, it doesn't have to be a full range. I know that we usually put or equal, comparable, something like that, so it can be like an S10 or one of those smaller pickups.
they see. And that's it, that's all I,
Sir, on that, on our meter readers, you only have two?
2 meter readers and the crew leader.
That should be three.
Actually, three.
Yes.
Sir. All right, the next one is Utility Administration Department. Currently just 2 staff there, myself, administrative clerk. We've listed all of our goals for next year. I won't bore you by reading them all. We'll just move forward because we have a lot of stuff to cover later. I am requesting one additional personnel, new one, a maintenance supervisor. And the reason I'm requesting him is to assist with the maintenance of all of our current facilities, or the water treatment plant, the 22 lift stations we have. One of the issues we've been having is preventive maintenance. In fact, one of the items that I'm still pricing out is an asset management software, to have a computer maintenance management system to make sure that the work orders are being done on as a frequent basis as required by the manufacturer. By regulation of the state, we have to maintain our equipment to the point that there shouldn't be any rust protruding from the equipment. And those are items that we're slowly catching up on, but it is a lot of work because it hasn't been maintained for a long time. It's just lack of maintenance for several years. And you'll see in the capital outlay, we're requesting a lot of money to slowly start replacing some of this over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But that's for the administration department. I do have some capital outlay in there. Of course, one of them is an actual administration and operations building for the utility department. I would invite all of you to come and take a look at the current facilities whenever you have a chance. You'll understand why I'm requesting this for a second time. I'll give you guys a tour whenever you guys want. And then, of course, furniture, because I don't have any furniture to fill the facility when we do build it. And the parking lot is for that parking lot that's there adjacent to plant number 1, is just a collegiate parking lot. This is used by planning, code enforcement, and utilities. So that's just to pave that parking lot to make it nicer. And we're going to require that new businesses pave their parking lot. I think we should pave our own parking lots as well. And then the utility vehicle is for the maintenance supervisor, and that comes with the full package, utility boxes so you can carry tools, air compressor, whatever so that's why it's at $45,000.
No Ranger?
No Ranger for him, sir.
No Ranger.
No Ranger for him. The next, any questions on that one? The next one is, of course, the water plant. As you're all aware, we're currently under construction on that. Hopefully we'll be done with that come November, with final total completion by the end of December.
Cross your fingers on that.
Cross fingers. Water. All right, on that one, we are requesting several. Now we currently have a total of 10. We're proposing to go to the staff at 13. We're requesting 3 additional actual licensee operators, and this would allow us to have 2 operators per shift. Right now, in fact, at this very time, we have 1 person running 2 facilities. Unfortunately, that's all I can do right now. I just don't have enough staff to cover it. And that is a safety issue, and it could be a regulatory issue as well, because we do have 3 shifts. We are asking for a couple of promotions for a couple of operators who currently have their D license. The minimum license that we need at the facility is a C. The handouts you just got, we'll cover those in distribution and collections. That's not addressed here in the water plant yet. So there's a promotion in there for an operator who currently has a D to C. He's working on that. He should be getting that hopefully before the end of the year. And then also a reclassification of a C license operator to a lead operator to assist with the administration of the facilities. And then the last one is a laborer position that I have vacant. I really don't need a laborer at the facility. The operators do most of the maintenance anyway. So I'd like to reclassify that into a C license operator as well.
So when you talk about the licenses, how are they compatible to other cities as well? I know Chief talked about, pictures. Yeah.
On the wages, we're actually below most of the cities. Unfortunately for us, I don't know about the chief and the fire chief, but I have to compete with McAllen. We have to compete with Edinburgh. We have to compete with FAR, Harlingen Waterworks, and PUB.
So I take it that our city is a stepping stone.
Basically, all the small cities.
And that goes for fire, and that goes for, right?
It happens in Weslaco, it happens in Donna, it happens in Mercedes, it happens in Alamos, it happens in San Juan. We train them, and then they go over to PAYSAT. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, and maybe for legal, I don't know if from here on out, or maybe we can look into as far as if they do get hired, let's say you employ them here in the city of San Juan, and we pay for their licenses, right? you gotta give us at least 2 years of service, or a year deciding, or 3 years, I mean, whatever we decide. Is there something we can look into as far as, or how would that work?
You can, you just have to have them sign a contract with that, like it's like.
On the PD side,
Yes.
we have a 3-year.
A 2-year, chief? 3-year? See?
3-year contract and the service is already vetted there. They will give us 3 years. On the other side, to your comment as to stepping stone, also, I see on the positive side, we have producing good quality employees in the city, they get high seats. Unfortunately,
Well, I mean, the goal is to keep them here, though.
Yeah, but we can give it for 3 years, it'll be great.
That's the nature de todo, porque it happens in the business también. Juniors trains them, HB hires them, and they move over.
You know, I think that's something we need to look into, Mr. Salinas.
Yeah, I'm sure we can work on a policy, Mayor, Commissioners.
Yeah, I'm just saying, porque, I mean.
If it works in the fire
I know the city of Edinburgh,
Same thing.
when I left Edinburgh, they did it because they were paying for your college degree. So if you applied for that, basically it was a grant. If you got that money where they were paying your college degree, you had to sign a contract that after you received it, you had to stick around for a minimum 2 years. Edinburgh was 2 years, so.
What's the price, what's the price on each license?
The license, it's you have to, once you get the license, you have to have 30 hours of training every 3 years. And then the license costs $111 every year. Every 3 years, I'm sorry.
The training?
It's the training, the continued training. And the thing is that you train them at your facility and they leave, there goes your institutional knowledge, and you have to start from scratch with the next guy. Right now, I have 8 vacancies. And 8 vacancies right now in my department. We're currently, one's under review right now. Hopefully he'll pass the drug screen and the background check, but he has no license. So we're starting from scratch. So, yeah. And unfortunately, he has to be shadowed by a licensed operator, which right now I have only a handful that can do that. So it's kind of, it hurts because I can't leave them by themselves. We tried to hire people with licenses, but when the city of McAllen is paying a D licensed operator $13 an hour, and that's what I'm paying a B, it just doesn't work. You know, so it's hard. I know other cities have tried different incentives, certification pay. You know, you get your license, we'll give you a one-time stipend. Every year you get it $500 if it's a D, or $1,000 if it's an A, that type of deal. I know Edinburgh had something like that. I know other cities are looking at that because we're not the only one that's happening. Unfortunately, in our industry, we did our own disservice because our kids were growing up and we would tell them, you need to get a good education or you're going to end up working at the sewer plant, you know, and nobody wants to do that. Millennials, unfortunately, don't want to come out and do physical labor. They want to sit behind a computer and push numbers. And we're getting there, and our technology is not there yet. And the state requires that we have somebody with a license to be there. And it's just hard for us to do that. And statewide, we have an over 15,000 operator shortage in the state of Texas. It's over 15,000. The state of Texas has changed their rules on the examination now because we had a 64% failure rate on the exams. And that's, I mean, the utilities are spending the money to train the people, they just aren't passing the exams. Even after we hire that person, there's no guarantee that person's gonna pass the exam. You know, with a 64% failure rate at the entry-level exam. The higher exams have a higher failure rate. The one that has the lowest failure rate is the A license because there's only 5 people that go. So they have like an 84% success rate on that one, but out of the 5 that went, 4 passed, 1 left. But the entry-level stuff is the one that's killing. It's the entire industry. All of the associations trying to figure out a way to address this. It's just taking a long time to do it because there's other needs. There's water lines that need to get replaced because they're breaking. Infrastructure is aging. It's already past its lifetime. There's just other priorities that we need to address, and we did it to ourselves. It's out of sight, out of mind. We didn't spend the right money where we need to spend it, and we're just having to deal with it now. And capital outlay, $24,000 for replace an existing truck that's got over 100,000 miles, 2002. Then it's $8,000 for some hoists that we've already pretty much taken to a limit for repairs. We need to get them replaced next year, or they're not going to pass the annual inspection. This is to move the chlorine and the chemical out there. The other one is the pumps, the upgrades at the existing plant number 1. We haven't done any upgrades to that. Hopefully with finishing plant number 2 this year, we can start spending some money and upgrading that downtown facility. And the same thing with the additional pumps are there for more newer efficient system. Then the raw water pumps at Trevino, we just installed a new pumping station over there that we're looking, that'll be the new one. The R there is to rehab them. If I rehab the existing pumps, it's $84,000. But if I use the new pump station that we put in there as supplementing for raw water down south, it's only about $35,000. So I prefer to go that option and not have to add another capital investment that we need to do maintenance on and pay electricity on. That pump station they put there is the raw water transfer station for plant number 2. That was there to supplement that, but we're not going to be using it 24/7. So to have an asset that we paid over $1 million to be sitting there and it's only going to be used intermittently, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I'd rather put in the plumbing, put in the valves, put in the infrastructure that it needs so we can use it for the downtown water plant and eliminate the asset that I need to spend $84,000 to. So I put the cost in there just so you all can see it. And then the bottom one down there is it's treatment improvements for plant number 1. That's additional work. Doesn't include the pumps. That's for the flocculators, addressing the air scour system for the filters. The plant needs a lot of work. It hasn't been touched since pretty much 1985 when it was built. So it's just an aging infrastructure. So that's what the capital's out there. And these are kind of in the priority that we would like to have them. So we gotta start knocking stuff off, knock off the bottom. Thank you. Any questions? All right, the next one, distribution. The handout I gave you there, we're not asking for additional personnel. We are asking for some promotions on some of the staff and a salary adjustment for the crew leader. So we're still staying at 6. We have 2 heavy equipment operators that once they get their B license, I'd like to bring them up to the $13. I don't want to get their license and then take off to McAllen or Harlingen or stuff like that. That's basically why this is in here, just to try to compete. And of course, whatever comes from the compensation study will be whatever number goes there, if approved by commission. You all got there. You got 2 different supporting events, one for water distribution and one for collections or wastewater. All right. That one's the bottom of the list, so I'll cover the first one. The top one is a new Vermeer, basically. This one I think is a replacement. Actually, no, it's a new one. We requested this last year. We didn't get it. It's for 2-inch bores, so we can do for taps across the street. Right now, when we have to bore across the street, we have to contract it out. So this will allow us so we can do it in-house. And basically, this is when we have a water line on one side of the street and the house across the street needs a water line, so we need to bore under the street so we don't tear it. So that's what that's for, so we can do the bore. And then we're asking for another backhoe. We have 2 heavy equipment operators and only 1 backhoe. So I'd like to have a second one so we can get 2 crews out instead of having 1 crew sent here because the equipment is being used, so we can get it out to the other one. And then the next one is a trailer with the hydro excavator. This one's to allow us to dig up in areas where there's a lot of fiber optic and telephone lines and stuff like that, that makes it really hard to dig with mechanical equipment. And then, of course, another utility chain cutting saw. This will be quicker for when we have to respond to cutting pipes. It'll make the cut a whole lot quicker because it's just 1 slot, just straight down instead of having to cut around and try to do all kind of aerobic exercise while we're trying to cut that pipe. It reduces the time. And then some hydrant pressure recorders. This is one issue that we've been having, and you all have noticed it. I'm pretty sure they've called you about pressure issues all over the city. This one will allow us to monitor pressure out in the system continuously in different areas of town. We would go out and place them and monitor for different periods, especially during the summertime, to try to determine and isolate the areas that are having the pressure issues so we can spend more of our infrastructure money in those areas, because those are the areas that we need to address. Maybe we need to loop a water line in that area to try to find out. And this will help us record the actual data and not just be guessing, because people have been calling there. This one will give us actual data on that area. And the HPR software is for those digital hydrants, PSI recorders. And the next one is, what you have there is only a portion of a master plan that was done back in 2011 by the city. The master plan developed a 5 and a 10-year capital outlay plan. If you look at the abbreviation there, it says CIP5. That was part of the plan that should have been addressed with the 5 years. Well, those 5 years were last year, 2016. A lot of the items on there are still pending. They haven't been done. The numbers that are under have not been adjusted very much, if they were. We believe the numbers are still fairly comparable to what's in there. We can discuss each individually if you want, but there is a lot of items on there that we need to discuss. I don't know if you guys want to set up. You want to go each one by one on that capital, or you guys review them on your own? Of course, one of the ones that's not listed on this deal, and that's something that I will be bringing back to you, the reason I listed on here is the purchasing water rights. They just don't come up for sale that often. It's hard to price. Last year, if you all remember, I came to commission because we had to lease some water rights to be able to end the year. We totally foresee we're going to have to do that again this year. I will be coming to you all in September, October. I'm kind of waiting to the end so I can get a very good number of what we're going to need. But eventually, we do need to buy water rights. We just expanded our plant to 7 million gallons, and we don't have enough water rights to supply that plant. It was addressed in the master plan. It just hasn't been kept up to date. Water rights have not been being purchased on the implementation, or the way it wasn't set up in the implementation plan. So that's something that I'll come back to you all when I get notice of some water rights for sale. There just aren't any for sale right now. So, any questions on that? Next one is sewer collections. That's the other flyer that I handed out to you all. On this one, we are requesting one new position, which is also another heavy equipment operator. One of the issues that we have no heavy equipment operators in that department, but yet we have a heavy piece of equipment. There's a Vector truck that we have that's a combo Vector jet truck. That's what we use to unclog the sewer lines when they're backed up. Currently, Mr. Ramiro Ramirez from distribution has been helping us when we do have an emergency. He's the one that drives the truck for us, and we're doing that. So I did get one reclassified. We did do some interviews. Unfortunately, the gentleman took a job elsewhere, so now we're having to re-interview for that position. We'll be submitting a recommendation to HR here next week for that position, but I do want to reclassify a position that we had to a heavy equipment operator, so I can have two. In case somebody's on a vacation, I have a backup that can drive that unit.
You currently don't have any? I
have one that was reclassified.
You have one?
I came to commission, yes.
Okay, so then under heavy equipment operator, we do have one, and you're asking for one. There's two. Okay.
Yes.
So then 7, 8, 9. So you do have 9 total, no?
Yes.
You have 9 total, not 8, because it shows 8 here.
No, I do. I have 8. I'm asking for one more.
One more.
Yeah, I'm asking for one more under the new request. Here. Yes, I have total 8, and I'm asking for one more. Oh, I'm sorry. I see what the problem is.
Yeah, but there was nothing there.
I see what the problem is.
So what is it?
Yeah.
8 or 9?
No, it's 8. I'm asking for an additional one.
Okay, so then up here it's 2 laborers?
Yes.
Instead of 3?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm asking for one more.
One more, which will be a total of 9.
It brings up to 9, yes, correct. Capital outlay, it's 6.8 million total. The first two, of course, the 2 odor control units for the existing lift stations. We have a lift station on the north side of town that we get complaints quite readily, and then we like to have another one in spare just the event that something happens. Then the trailer-mounted jetters, what we're requesting here. The Vector truck is a unit that we normally use for this type of jetting, but we're putting a lot of wear and tear of it. If Commission recalls, Commission approved a source service cleanout program. So we get a lot of calls from the source service cleanout program, but we're putting a lot of wear and tear on that Vector truck that I should be using cleaning the main lines to take off. So this would allow for this trailer mounted to be a smaller unit, and this one will address basically service call-outs. And we do get quite often, we do get a lot of those on a daily basis. In fact, today we had 3 that we had to go check. One of them was actually an actual service call, but so that'll address that area. And then backhoe for this department, they don't have one. They borrow the one from Utilities Department when they have to dig up and repair sewer lines. So that's why we're requesting that. And then the lift station upgrade, this is the $1.8 million to do upgrades and lift stations. That was part of the 5-year capital outlay. This one, they did start part of the program. It just didn't get funded. They were seeking funding through Texas Water Development Board. In fact, there is an application, a project information sheet that was submitted to Texas Water Development Board this year to seek funding for this. And then the other one is the force main relocation. This will address some of the issues that we have on Cesar Chavez, with some issues with the force main over there that are undersized, and we have issues with lift stations in that area. Last one will be the wastewater treatment facility. This one, we're just requesting a promotion for a D license operator. We should be getting a C license here pretty quick, from a D to a C. And then I'd like to adjust the salary for Mr. Carlos Flores. He's an A license operator, and we're paying him $13 an hour. McAllen pays $18 for an A license operator. So I'd just like to increase it a little bit to make sure this gentleman doesn't leave. Capital outlay, again, it's about a little over $1 million. Again, we put the belt press back in here. I know some commission has seen this for years. This is a mechanical dewatering for the sludge. Right now, we currently have drying beds out there that are pretty much obsolete, and 2 basically dewatering boxes that were purchased back in 2008 that we're looking to replace this year. Unfortunately, the money that we budgeted was not enough to buy new ones. We did put two other ones in there as well. And then the upgrading of the disinfection system. The old system doesn't flow paste very well, and we are using more chemical than we should. If we upgrade the system to a new one, we should be able to reduce some chemical usage in that area by being able to flow paste that chemical system better and reduce the demand. And the flow meters are meters that were there. They were never repaired when they broke down. Now they're obsolete, can't be repaired, so we need to replace them. Right now, there's no way to measure the amount of sludge that's being returned back to the plant or what's the actual wasting. The staff has to go out there and measure the tank and calculate the volume of what's being wasted by the amount of feet and inches that are being drawn down at the time of wasting. The chart recorder is part of the flow meters. That handheld portable meter, that Roche meter, is it'll allow us to get a better reading of instantaneous solids concentrations in the plant without having to submit them out to an outside lab. Right now, we submit all this up to an outside lab, and we have to wait 3 to 4 days before we get a result. So it's harder for us to operate the facility. Again, the clarifiers, the flow meters and the clarifiers were also never maintained. They broke down and they were never repaired. Now they're obsolete, need to replace those. The other one is a roll-off truck. I know Carmen's been really good in trying to help us, but as you all will see, she also has limited resources. This will allow us to move our own sludge containers at the plant without having to rely on Public Works to do it. And then the influent meter, which I have no idea what happened to it. It's not out there anymore. Nobody knows what happened to it, so we need to replace it. And then electric gates for the plant. Right now, they stay open 100% of the time. This will make it easier for when we take chemical deliveries. I don't have to have somebody standing out there waiting for somebody to show up. They can just drive up to the gate and we can open it from wherever we're at. And that was my last department.
When are we planning to have to finalize everything? You know, to all the directors, the honest truth here is, man, I wish we can just give you everything you want. But I really need you guys to, and you've done an excellent job, everybody here, to really buckle down and the necessity stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not going to go through the whole booklet and going through it, and, you know, one-on-one. There's a lot of this stuff here that it's kind of, in my opinion, is like a want, you know. Not everything, don't get me wrong, but we're really going to need to dissect it again, you guys, so that way you can come back to us and let us know what's the necessity in each department. Also, another thing are the raises. I mean, the reclassifications too. You know, there's something I want to let you know, Arjona, as well. I honestly think we should, all our employees, you know, deserve some kind of compensation, you know, for all the hard work they do. You know, that's something that, you know, I want you to look into.
Mayor, we're already looking into
Oh,
that.
okay.
There's
You see,
different
I didn't know that.
options.
Okay.
But that'll be on the second
Yeah.
workshop. We're gonna bring you what is called the recommended city manager's budget, and then at that point we're gonna bring a balanced budget. But at the same time, we're gonna give you the different options, whether it's and I'll just throw some figures of 1%, 1.5, like what we did last year.
Last time, yeah. Okay.
And then after that, if you decide to do a 2% or 3%, hopefully a 10% increase.
That means that they can't get anything.
Right, then we'll come back and readjust the budget for the final.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that's good, and I appreciate that. But yes.
Bring cada department, because I was seeing que this, como uno de Carmen tiene 3, que tanto ya 945. So if you're going to give 2% or 1%, where would it put them and how much we need to get into that $10 level?
Correct.
And then if you put every department, pues ya sabemos, it looks like so many, pero cada department tiene como 3, 4, you know, maybe uno's 1, and they're at the 945, 940. So that, sí, porque if you give 1% or 2%, everybody's getting that across the board. So that raises them, that 945 raises them to maybe 960. So entonces we gotta come up with those 40 cents, at least to get everybody at a $10.
What we wanted to do was present to you guys what the needs are. And I know that you mentioned the wants, and there's always been a want and a need. But in all reality, it's 98%, maybe 99% is one that can be. Like Mr. Lee was saying, there's a lot of stuff like this particular master plan was back in September 2011. I was saying that none of it has been implemented. So now we're behind 4 or 5 years. Then now we need to catch up on that, and that's when we see those, you know, big dollar items. If it would have been done accordingly, instead of maybe asking for $3 or $4 or $5 million worth of improvements, it would probably be maybe $1 million, if not a little bit more or less. But this is why on something like this we need to keep on it.
Hey, como con the water plan, pues it's not really something that you're wishing for. It's something that you try to protect the. Porque si te fijas, como Donna tuvo un chiller que se desbarató. The news break out que tiene ese chiller. PHS tuvo uno and nobody said anything. Así es lo que pasa que el agua. Anything happens to the water or storage de water.
Yeah, you brought up a good point in reference to the gates. That's, I mean, because when it comes to water, I mean, That's delicate. You're very delicate.
Actually, it's a homeland security issue. The plants need to be secured at all times, but we take the chemicals pretty much every other day. And I have to pull staff off of the work, and then the work is delayed to make sure somebody's up at the front gate to let them in.
Did you bring that up last year?
On the gates?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they weren't funded. Yeah, the gates were under.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually, we had put them in the budget. They're in the budget. We put some money in through the regular budget, not in the capital outlay. Through Hussein, he had put some numbers in there, the IT director. So there was some number in the budget. I don't know if it's still there or not, but that's for some of the cameras, especially around some of the safety sensitive positions like the chemicals and all that area where if somebody were to go do something, that could cause a big issue. And around the gates as well. So we can track. There's some at the water plant, but they're pretty much obsolete. You don't see much. We just did some work at the ones at the wastewater plant, but we were limited to the amount of cameras we could put on the existing system. So we can't carry the bandwidth of the cameras on the current infrastructure. That's why you see the wireless for that 1 gigabyte increase to make sure that we carry the additional information. Plus, we also are going to have to start carrying information from the new water plant. The new SCADA system is going to run on that Wi-Fi to carry data from plant 1 to plant 2. The towers, everything commutes under radio, but the other stuff is going to communicate under internet. So that's something that's going to be needed.
Doing grant writing right now for any?
No, Chanel was looking at it. I had given her some options. When she left, she just unfortunately did not get a chance to review them. The new ones open up in January, pretty much. So
you do need somebody to start looking pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make sure you get with the commission in reference to the next budget workshop, and I guess take a poll and see when's a good day and time. You guys like 5:30? Yeah. 5:30 is good for you guys too. I know. I was gonna say. I was gonna say. I noticed no one left. That's great. So is that it? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This meeting has been adjourned. Okay. Thank you, Ms. We'll see you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, no, I was gonna give it back to you, but I was like, I don't know who gave it to me. And I put the extra sheets that they passed out. Oh. Yeah. Mm?
Thank you.
Yeah, I know, I missed it too. So I was like, I need to catch them today.
Did they send you the drafts of the ordinances before the meeting, or they just like the directors?
No, they send it before.
Oh, okay, because you might want to tell them just so that I don't have to sign for it on the ordinance.
Understand?
Yeah,
What
if
happened
they
is
could
that
do
this
like
one-
maybe Palacios Garza Thompson, and then just put city attorney, that way both Rick and I can sign.
Can sign, okay, yeah, because what happened?
Okay.
I'll have them make
Yeah,
that change.
yeah, and it could just, you know, right on top, just right here, put Palacios Garza Thompson, and then put by, and then